Peter lost his daughter to an accident 4 years ago, tearing the family apart. His wife left him and started a new life. His son David, upon returning from a military campaign and finding out about her death, is overwhelmed to the point he is committed. Peter, meanwhile, retreats into his faith in order to make sense of her death, being in limbo for 4 years. He holds on to the one family thread he has left, David. However, has to search for him after he escapes from the institution. Emilia is a visual arts student, submitting material that pushes the boundary of what is acceptable. Yet she is not looking to shock, rather is expressing herself, externalizing an internal conflict that is holding her back to overcome it. Her relationship with her mother is tense due to their past with her father, who is implied to have abused Emilia. Hence why, as a child, her mother ran away with her. However, not having the opportunity to express these latent feelings and reconcile them has led her down a path of self-destructive forms of expression, coping through her art, putting her emotions into something tangible to understand it and move forward. Milo, a graphic designer, is left at the altar by his fiancée. He takes this hard and reminisces about his childhood sweetheart, Sally, so often that he catches glimpses of her throughout the city. Looking up his old school, he goes in search of her, only to find she works there. While enjoying a lunchtime walk, they catch up and she asks a curious question.
When did you forget about me?
Regardless, as they make plans to see each other in a restaurant, they are interrupted by an approaching teacher. He tells his mother of this reunion and she notes he is far more hurt than she expected, revealing Sally was an imaginary friend he created when his father died as a source of comfort. This brings meaning to Sally's earlier line, where she was forgotten when he overcame his grief, also changing the meaning as to why a teacher walked over to a man talking to himself in front of a school. Sally ultimately is an imaginary friend acting as his coping mechanism. Living in Meanwhile City, where religion is mandatory under threat of imprisonment, Priest has no faith, seeing it as a distraction the institution uses to pacify people. He is tasked with protecting a girl, however she was killed by the individual. As a result, following his escape from prison, tracks him down to execute him. During the finale he is revealed to be David, Peter's son. The grief of losing his sister led him to create a world to escape into with an allegorical substitute for his life, framing himself as the hero and his father, who hides behind his faith, as the villain, blaming him for her death. The fictionalized world he inhabits being a coping mechanism for his grief. The film unifies the characters through their antithesis. Peter is highly religious while David is not. Milo and Emilia, who are both in tune with the arts, ponder on fairy tales. Milo sees himself as the prince who leaves the princess, because reality does not measure up to the fantasy, becoming so desperate he was willing to leave reality behind to be with Sally, while Emilia saw herself as the princess who woke up to find the prince gone, highlighting the abandonment she feels and the illusion she had to create to cope with her father's treatment of her. Each character is experiencing a loss they are trying to overcome, each in their own ways, while a godlike presence guides them to what they need, connecting them through faith even if they do not believe. A father is forced to face the repercussions of over-relying on faith to accept loss through his son, reminding him to fight for his family. A son recognizing he is so far gone into his own world that he no longer has a place in reality. A young man chasing ghosts that it is worth staying with the princess. A young woman pouring her very life into her art, that it is worth living not only for those in her life, but also for those she is yet to meet. Franklyn attempts to examine the nature of faith and how far people will go to avoid facing the pain that would ultimately help them move on. That everyone has their own coping mechanisms, while showing how indulging in them can help in the short term, but when prolonged, can turn into something that ultimately hurts you.